like my weather vane. It's one of the little crafts, if you will. More a weather tool than a craft because it has a pin, so it's not going to be in our craft repertoire. But anywho, there's a song that says you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. Watch this. All you need is a weather vane. And once you know the directions, then you know what way the wind's blowing. Cool, eh? Because we're still talking about the weather. Yep, March is a long month, and so there's still things to chat about. So we're going to put our little weather vane down, or makeshift weather vane. But I wanted to correct a wrong, a misnomer that was in last week's story time. I made mention as I was reading Dr. Seuss that typically schools will, celebrate Read Across America, Dr. Seuss's birthday, often, in February. Well, my error, because really, happy birthday, Dr. Seuss. His birthday fell on March 2nd, wasn't this year. In fact, if he was still with us, he would be 118 years old. Imagine the wind you would need for those candles. 118. Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss, and all of the March birthday folk out there. Okay, all right. Enough with the cake. It's paper. There's that. But if you notice today, we have the globe, right? This is our world. This is our planet. And it's been called the Big Blue Marble because of all the water that comprises the globe. And one of our stories today is just a fabulous story because it looks at the same day in March in various places around the globe. And sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes we get in our own lives and you lose sight of the fact that there is a big blue marble out there. And people all around this globe are experiencing their lives on this one day in March. So in fact, here's the book. It is entitled On the Same Day in March, a tour of the world's weather, and it's written by Marilyn Singer and illustrated by Franée Lazac. And this will be our first read. I had to think for a second. That's our first read. The second read is the one where I actually found this idea. And both of these books you can ask us and we can get them through interlibrary loan. I personally bought this book right here, On the Same Day in March. I was really taken by that idea of all around the world on the same day. But we can borrow these from other libraries. Just let us know. And as our collection develops, maybe they'll find their way here. We'll see. Okay? All right. So, yeah. This one's going to be our second read. This is written and illustrated by Arthur Dorros. It's an older book. You can probably tell that from the cover. And this one talks about the effects of the winds in various places around the globe. Okay. So, here we go. Our craft is based on that one. So, oh, I have to move the globe. Thank you, cameraman Jared, for reminding me. All right, on the same day in March, a tour of the world's weather. This was some read aloud project. I bought it, used. So, cool. Here is the globe just flattened out, and it has the map on where the different spots will be visited on this one day in March. In the Arctic, polar bears ride on floes of ice, stalking seals, wishing fish, as the 6-month sun begins to rise slowly in the Arctic skies on the same day in March. Imagine 6 months of darkness. I don't know if I could take it. And also 6 months of light. And though that sounds great, I don't know if I could take that either. It would mess me all up. Little seal down there. He knows not to get out. In Alberta, Canada, just when you can't even remember spring, kind of like here, right? The wild chinook blows in like a dragon, and quicker than you can say medicine hat, the biggest snow forever is nothing but a dragon-shaped patch in somebody's backyard. So I had to look at the picture to see what they were talking about, but sure enough, if you look where these people are standing, when we zoom in on the pictures, it does look like a dragon. On the same day in March, Alberta, Canada, our neighbor to the north. In Paris, France, the sun slips out, still winter pale, but all over the city at bus stops and markets, on grand streets and grand boulevards. People hurrying to work or school, people huddled in their coats and scarves, sitting at outdoor cafes and sipping chocolat. We say chocolate. Chocolat. All of them turn up their faces to enjoy the sun's shy smile on the same day in March. Flowers. No snow. I don't see any snow in that picture. In New York City, right, not too far from here, 7, 8, 9 hours, depending on how you drive. It's too gray to play outside today. The parents sigh, the little kids complain, but the basketball players stay in the schoolyard arguing, what's worse, snow or sleet or freezing rain on the same day in March. Personally, don't give me the freezing rain. I am like on freezing rain. Okay? Just my view. In the Texas Panhandle, right? They said it was just a tiny twister, not big enough to spin a horse or hoist a cow. But it did suck up a bucket of water and give Grandma's dirty old truck the first wash it had for weeks on the same day in March. Now, really super different landscape than we have, right? Very flat in this particular area in Texas. Yeah, a lot of open space. You don't see a lot of, evergreen trees like we have. In the Nile Valley, fog threads through the temples. Okay, so here is a fella right here with his camel and some birds with really long legs standing there in the Nile, and crocodiles, and it's just almost like a dream. It's all foggy and misty. In a Louisiana bayou, now this is back here in the United States, the southern part near Florida, fog settles on the swamp on the same day in March. Well, the gator to gator, right? Alligator, crocodile, whatever type. Here they are, another water bird, snake. Here they are in their canoe. Well, some kind of, it's a bayou. There's a name for that boat and it's just not coming to me. But anyway, critters in the trees, right? And little flowers on the tree ends. In Xi'an, China. In the park, the old men and small children guess. What will the wind carry today? Clouds of big wind swallows, dust that hurts their eyes, rain from up in the mountains, kites shaped like butterflies. On the same day in March. Now again, if you look at this, this is definitely not the kind of landscape that we have, right? All of these different kind of hills. It's just a very different look than in particular this area. And the trees, right? And the structure of the buildings, really very different than our kind of New England style homes that you see and our buildings. In Darjeeling, China, I got stuck, sorry. Hailstones all over the hillside. No one's happy except little sister, who thinks the moon has broken and scattered its necklace of pearls. Ah, childish thinking, how lovely. On the same day in March. Now, here we do see a different green kind of landscape. But again, clustered villages, not our look necessarily in this area. Of course, India is the other side of the big blue marble. Be nice to get a map and look some of these places up and go, "Ooh, how far is that, huh?" In central Thailand, look how warm it is. It's summertime for them. In central Thailand, it's too hot to plant rice. It's too hot to pick rice, but it's not too hot to spell rice. R-I-C-E. That's what it says right there. On the blackboard in the school on the same day in March. I'm always in great respect for other countries that really push teaching language skills to their children. Good for them. Right, and here's their flag. Ooh, look, another really hot looking scene. And their clothing, look how colorful. This is Dakar, Senegal. Sunlight sparkles on the market. And the women have their beautiful headdresses on, and they're carrying the fruits and vegetables to their homes from probably market. On their heads, and it's just super colorful. Though I have color too, but it's a whole different look, right? A whole different look. In Barbados, sunlight dazzles on the sand on the same day in March. Now think about this, right? You can tell how nice and warm it is. They're playing at the ocean. Well, even though I love the ocean, I'm not going swimming in the ocean here in Maine in March. So see, on the other side of the globe, they're really still warm. But we're going to get there. You just wait. In northern Kenya, down in Africa, the rains come, and all in one day they leave the gift of a river. Everyone hurry! Come drink, come play before the sun shines, and all in one day takes the river away. That is pretty mind-blowing. One day they get such heavy rains that it creates a river that they can bathe in and play in and get drinks in, grow food with, and then on that same day in March, it can all be dried up. Very harsh climate. Different. Ours is harsh in times too, but not like that. In the Amazon basin, Brazil, Grandpa is always late. The rain is always on time. Arriving at 3 o'clock yesterday, 3 o'clock tomorrow, 3 o'clock today, only the weather wears a watch. Grandpa likes to say, whenever he or the rain makes everyone wait on the same day in March. So this is the rainforest area. Super dense population of trees and animals and plants, and there's always this heavy rain daily. They're saying here, 3 o'clock. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, the weather doesn't have to wear a watch because it happens all the time, at the same time every day. The Amazon basin in Brazil. And again, they're nice short sleeved, no shoes. In Darwin, Australia, board up the windows, bring in the boat, better be like crocodiles crouched on the shore than to be out sailing the sea when the Willy Willies come to call on the same day in March. Well, obviously we can tell from this picture, right? The Willy Willies, look at the wind blowing these trees, and the roots are interesting. I don't know if these roots are being pulled. It seems to be, right? Because look, here's another kind of tree, and that's down in the ground. So I don't know if these are being pulled or if that's kind of how that tree grows. I would have to look that up. But this is, as they say, down under, right? Down on the bottom from where we are on the globe. And they know they better board up their windows, just like some of our southern states do, as far as hurricanes and those kind of storms. In Patagonia, Argentina, over the wide, dry plain, autumn shears the clouds like a flock of sheep. Catch the wool, Mama teases her youngest son. He doesn't understand why these white puffs vanish wet and cold in his fat, warm hands on the same day in March. So she's teasing him, right? She's like, catch the wool. And she's talking about these big puffy clouds. And of course, he can't. They're made out of water. So he doesn't understand. He's little. And now look, it's a little cooler. They look like they're definitely ready for horseback riding, right? They have cropped pants. It looks definitely to me like this is an area where they're going to have a lot of livestock, right? They've got sheep and they have cows to take care of. The mountains are very different than our mountains. They've got these jagged peaks to them. Patagonia, Argentina. In Antarctica, penguins scramble on the shore seeking mates, missing fish, as the 6-month sun begins to slice down below the Antarctic ice, all on the same day in March. So remember, on the front side of this story, I was talking about, like, oh my God, right? 6 months of the sun being up and 6 months of darkness. Well, on the opposite side of our globe, Antarctica experiences that same kind of daylight and just darkness. That'd be difficult to deal with. And then there's a nice note from the author, and they're talking about all the changes in all different parts of the globe. And yeah, we won't get into that. But in closing up this book, I almost said conclusion. Well, you got what I was saying. So, in conclusion, here is, again, ouch, I just hit my elbow. Here is the globe, right? The rounded globe. And here it is flattened out like a little pancake. But it's very interesting to look at maps. Ask mom and dad or somebody in your family to help you. And look at some maps and see where we are compared to other people in the world. The big blue marble on one day in March. Yeah? Okay. Good. Oh, hey. I brought the bells today. You were missing them. I know you were missing them. You ready? Okay. This is a cool sound. Ooh. These are brass. Brass old bells. One story down, one to go. You ready? Okay. Wait, oh, hang on. I gotta do this one more time. It's so much fun. I said you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. That's a song. But you do really, because they help us know about the weather. Anyway. Okay. Now, next story. Oh, so excited. This is called Feel the Wind. So this lady's out doing her laundry. You can already tell. Whoosh, the laundry's blowing all over the place. March winds. Right? Okay. So they're going to talk about some of the things that we saw in the story before, and it's also going to give us some ideas for a craft. Hang here we go. I borrowed this book, and we can do it for you as well if you want to see this book. Have you felt the wind blowing through your hair? Wind is moving air. Air is what we breathe. That's air. It's everywhere around us, even though we can't see it. We can see what it does. We can't see the wind. We can't see air, and we can't really see the wind, but we can see the wind move things. Wind pushes clouds across the sky. Wind flutters the leaves of trees and makes ripples on the lake. Now, you know, we have a lot of lakes here in Belgrade, right? So I know you've all probably seen that. Maybe you've put a boat out, or you've been in a boat and you can see the waves. You can hear the wind too. When wind blows through cracks in your house, it can sound like someone whistling. If the wind blows very hard, it can sound like a wild animal howling. Definitely in a bad winter storm, that wind sometimes sounds like it's going to just take the top right off my house. I'm glad to say it never has. Oh, look at the kitty. You can see the wind move things, you can hear the wind, and you can feel the wind too. Stand by an open window and let the breeze tickle your face. A strong gust or a light breeze. Wind is moving air. But what makes the air move? You can make air move with a fan or by flapping a piece of cloth or paper. Ready? See? My hair's blowing back. No, probably isn't. Hairspray. But fans don't make wind. What makes the wind that blows across fields and forests and mountains? What makes the wind that whips around tall buildings in the city? See the paper? Whoosh. And the little girl's got a fan in her hand. All the earth is surrounded by air. Earth and the air around it are heated by the sun. So this is the big giant sun, right? Heated by the sun. But some parts of the earth heat up more than other parts. Remember, we read in the other story, some people had like warm clothes on like we wear right now, and some it's like summertime and they're swimming. In the tropical parts of earth near the equator, the sun's rays strike the earth directly. See, there's the equator, and it's a pretend line that goes through the whole globe or earth. The air gets very hot. Near the earth's icy poles, there's the North Pole, Santa Claus. And here's the South Pole, the penguins. The sun's rays strike at a slant, so the air stays cold. When hot air and cold air change places, wind is made. There you go. Wind is because of the difference in temperature. Hot air is lighter than cold air, so hot air rises, goes up. People discovered this a long time ago and used hot air to make balloons float. You've seen those, they're beautiful. The heated air in the balloons was lighter than the colder air inside. The hot, light air made the balloons float upward. When heated, air over the earth rises, lifts, goes up. Cooler, heavier air rushes to take place, or its place. The moving air is wind. And this whole graphic or picture right here is showing us the difference between like the cold air and the warm air and how they're making wind. The sun's rays strike the equator, remember the middle part of the globe, directly, and that's why it gets hotter there. Remember where it was lots of rain, right, down in the Amazon area? But some things get hotter than others because of what they're made of. You can discover this for yourself. Feel the sidewalk on a hot day is probably warmer than the grass beside it. The air above it's warmer too. You might see shimmering heat waves as the hot air rises above the sidewalk. I always think that's very cool. On a really warm day, then you look and it's like, is that my imagination? Or do I see something coming off from the sidewalk, like vapor, like something, right? Like the sidewalk and grass, land and water heat up differently too. On sunny summer days, the land gets warmer than the water. The air over the land also gets warmer. The warm air rises up and the cool winds blow in from the sea. And that's why, right, here in Maine, if it's a super hot day here in Belgrade, but you're lucky you get to go to the ocean and play, there's always usually a beautiful breeze. The hot air, the cold air. Some winds blow gently, others blow fast. You can see how fast the winds are blowing by watching how things move around. A gentle wind makes leaves dance. A stronger wind might flap clothes on a line. A very strong wind can make even heavy trees bend and sway. We see that during, especially the winter, right? Or during thunderstorms in the summertime. Yep. Storms like hurricanes bring the strongest winds of all. Storm winds may blow very fast, more than 100 miles an hour. That's not good because it can do damage. That's about twice as fast as cars go on the highway. Well, cars used to go that speed on the highway. Now cars go faster, so you can tell it's an older book. These winds are strong enough to knock trees down. Well, that is very bad. We don't want that to happen. And we're thankful. Here in Maine, we don't have a lot of that. You can see how strong the wind is by doing an experiment. With a bicycle, stand so the wind is blowing in your face. See how her hair is blowing backwards? So the wind's going whoosh, 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 right in her face. Now ride into the wind. Feel how hard it is to pedal. So she's giving it all she can go, right? And then look at her hair. Now she's going the other way and the wind's pushing behind her. Then turn your bicycle around and ride with the wind pushing you along. Isn't it easier to pedal now? Have you ever tried to walk on a really windy day and it's really blowing you, but if you go the other way, it pushes you along? The wind carries your kite towards the clouds or lifts a glider. Some birds can soar on the wind without moving their wings. We've seen that, right? And it's like, that's a miracle. It's almost like a miracle to watch them do that. Sailboats, I believe you've seen those. Sailboats are pushed along by the wind blowing against their sails, right? That's called their billowing sails, right? They're all puffed out. And there's a little boy with his cat. He's having his own little sailboat. People have used the power of moving air for thousands of years. Windmills, right here, are wind-powered machines, and the blades of the windmill turn as the wind pushes against them, and the turning blades move other parts to lift water or grind grain, especially back in earlier days. The people used to make the grain for their bread like that. Saw wood, right? So here's the fan, if you will, blowing, and it's pushing this machine so that he can saw his wood. Or make electricity. And we're starting to see more and more of these. We have them right out in the ocean in Maine. And in other parts of Maine. Wind brings changes in the weather. Rainstorms blow in the wind and out again as the wind pushes the clouds along. Weather forecasters want to know where the wind is coming from so that they can see that the weather will be blown in with it, or what kind of weather will be blown in with it. We name winds according to the direction they come from. I didn't know that. A west wind blows from the west. There are east winds, north winds, south winds. Well, I knew that part, but I think coming up, here it is. In some parts of the world, people have given special names to the wind that blows there. A Chinook is a wind that blows from the Rocky Mountains of the United States out west from where we are. A Chinook is so warm that in winter it can melt deep snow in just a few hours. Sirocco, I had to make sure I was pronouncing it. The Sirocco, or a Sirocco, is a hot, dry wind that blows from northern Africa. Look, you can see his scarf blowing back, and his friend the camel walking through. You can figure out which way the wind is blowing by watching a leaf, a piece of cloth, a string, or a weather vane. Get ready. Oops. Get ready. The weather vane's arrow will point in the direction that the wind is coming from. You can make your own weather vane like this. So just quick. What I did is took a pencil and a pin. Don't do this by yourself. It has to be a big person. Take a straw. Then I had one end was a square, one end was triangle. Ready? And there you go. And that's what it's showing you right here. And it says if you really want to get tricky, then you have stones put down on the ground. One says north, south, east, west, and then you know which way the weather's going. Winds moving all around us, winds at work. It carries the seeds of plants to new places where they can take root and grow. See the dandelion? We see these all the time on our lawns, and they're blowing in the air. But powerful winds can also carry away the soil that plants need. That's not good. Wind can even change the strongest rocks. Bits of sand that carry the wind pound on the rocks and wears them away. The wearing away is called erosion. Some wind-eroded rocks have strange shapes. See the little guy with his head inside the rock? Trees are shaped by the wind, and so are sand dunes. Like if you go to the ocean, you can see how the pattern is in the sand made from the water and the wind. And here's the end. The wind blows gently, the wind blows strong. See it, hear it, feel the wind. Well, speaking of the wind, ooh, excuse me, a little chilly. I've had a little moment here. Give me 1 second. Pop, diddy bop. There we go, I'm all warmed up. All right, so I was thinking about the wind and a craft. And I got thinking, and then the book gave me an idea. So as soon as we switch over, get ready for a wonderful idea. I'm playing with the word wonderful. Okay, it's wonderful, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay? All right, very good. Whoa, my kite is flying. Woo. It looks like it's flying, doesn't it? That's why I love this craft so much, because it looks like it's really in the wind, but it's not. We're right at the craft table. So, thinking of the wind, here's how we're going to make our indoor, oh so fun craft kite. Okay, so at my house, what I did is I took straws and I have stapled them together. This is the frame of the structure, the frame of the kite. Okay, then I went ahead and I have cut all kinds of pieces of tissue paper, which are very delicate, and the tissue paper will, this is your time to decide how you want to decorate it. I would say now, it really is easier to decorate it before you get it onto the frame. So you can do what I did and make a little bow using some tissue paper. I think they're darling myself, cute. And then I also put just little dots, and then I put my initials. You can do any darn thing you want. Smiley faces, sun, clouds, whatever. Okay, I'll also throw in a couple googly eyes. I don't know how much weight that'll put on it, but give it a go. See how it happens, all right? Okay, so you've done whatever gentle, very gentle art with the tissue paper because it is so fragile. Then you want to take a glue stick. It's really the best tool for this craft. I think you could try wet glue, but I just don't know about the drying time and all that. So, okay, you're going to take your glue and you're going to really cover the straw frame. Okay? Close it back up to keep it from drying out. And then let's imagine this side's all decorated and it's the way you want it to look. So I gently place, because once you place it, it's going to stick pretty quickly. Then you place it on the frame, and just to help it along, gently give it a push. Not a hard push, super gentle, like a soft wind. Huh? See how I went with the wind again? All right, whatever. Give it a second, right? Okay. Flip it over and do the other side. Glue, 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 glue. Get your decorated, or maybe this time it's plain, you pick, kite fabric. Cover up the frame of the kite. Okay. Now the kite part is finished and you set it off to the side so it can dry. All right. Now, you will have, along with the kite tissue paper, aka fabric, also known as fabric, you are going to have these triangles of tissue paper. Now this is my suggestion. Ready? You can do it bazillions of ways, but here we go. So you just, it's like you want to almost make, what do I want to call it? Like a handkerchief. And you roll it, roll it, roll it like a handkerchief. And you gotta be careful not to pull it, but you just keep kind of making it twisted a bit, right? And then you take your filament, right? And you're going to start tying these gently onto the plastic strapping, which is what we're using to give us a flying motion. And then you tie it. Now, if left to itself, it's going to slide. So I figured out what to do. I take a little tiny piece of Scotch tape and I wrap the Scotch tape around the plastic strapping. And when I do that and just tighten it around, right, then it acts as a stopper. Look at that. Clever. Okay? And it just makes it so beautiful and realistic. Okay, so remember, now you decorate the way you want your plastic strapping piece. Yeah? Secure it with the tape, your Scotch tape. Done. Now you have the frame and you have the plastic strapping. What you want to do is, I'm going to show you on a plain one, you're going to take, probably get some help on this, you're going to take that piece and you're going to put it into the bottom part of the straw. Now it depends what you want to do. You have to close the two together, well, you know, fuse the two together. You can use Scotch tape, that will work and nobody will see it. You just take some tape and wrap and so that the plastic strapping can't pop out of the straw. The other thing that I did on mine, I had my stapler at home, and you please get some help because you know you can get your fingers pinched in those. And you just go ahead and put a staple right through it. So as long as it's secured, perfect. And then, yeah, I think you've got it. And you will, presto changeo, have a kite that looks like it really flies in the wind. And before you know it, we will be outside on a warm day, really flying kites. Until then, see ya later. Bye-bye.